When was the last time you did absolutely nothing? Not relaxing with Netflix, not unwinding with music, not scrolling to decompress, just nothing. Sitting with your own thoughts. No input, no stimulation, just you and the silence. If that sounds uncomfortable, even slightly anxiety-inducing, you're not alone. Most people today find genuine silence genuinely hard, not because they're doing anything wrong, but because they've spent years training their brain to expect constant input. And now, stillness feels like deprivation. But here's what the research shows. The moments when your brain has nothing to process, no podcast, no scroll, no external stimulus, are not wasted moments. They might be the most productive moments of all. This final video is about the quiet mind, what happens in your brain when you stop filling every moment with noise, why it matters more than almost anything else we've covered, and how to start building it back. In a world designed to prevent you from ever being still, we've forgotten how to be still. Think about your average day. From the moment your alarm goes off to the moment you fall asleep, how much time do you spend in genuine silence? No music, no podcast, no video, no background noise you chose? For most people, the honest answer is close to zero. We wake up and immediately check our phones. We shower with podcasts. We commute with music. We work with background noise. We eat while watching something. We exercise with audio. We fall asleep to TV or YouTube. Every single one of those inputs requires cognitive processing. Your brain isn't resting during passive consumption, it's working. Quieter work than active focus, yes, but work nonetheless. And what gets crowded out by all that constant input is something essential: the brain's ability to process what's already happened, to make connections, to surface insights, to consolidate memory, to figure out what it actually thinks, not just react to what it's been fed. We have created a generation of people who are always consuming and rarely processing, always receiving and rarely integrating. And the cost of that, cognitively, emotionally, creatively, is enormous. What your brain does in the silence, the default mode network. We talked briefly about the default mode network in the attention span video, but it deserves a deeper look here because it's central to everything. The default mode network, the brain's resting state system, activates when you're not focused on any external task. And for a long time, neuroscientists thought it was just the brain idling, background noise, nothing important. Then they looked more closely at what it was actually doing, and what they found changed how we understand the human mind. The DMN is responsible for some of the most sophisticated cognitive work your brain does, integrating new experiences with existing memories, constructing your sense of self, simulating future scenarios, generating creative connections between unrelated ideas, processing complex emotions, and developing empathy by imagining other people's inner lives. None of this happens when you're consuming content. The moment you give your brain external input to process, the DMN goes quiet. It literally cannot do its integration work while you're feeding it new information. Every time you fill a quiet moment with a podcast or a scroll, you are interrupting your brain mid-sentence. You're preventing it from finishing the thought it was in the middle of thinking. Part 2. Insight, creativity, and the shower effect. You've probably noticed that your best ideas don't come when you're staring at a screen trying to have them. They come in the shower, on a walk, lying in bed before sleep, doing the washing up. This isn't a coincidence or a charming quirk. It's neuroscience. Researcher John Konios at Drexel University has spent years studying the neural basis of insight, those sudden aha moments where a solution appears apparently from nowhere. His finding: insight reliably requires a period of mental quiet before it arrives. The brain needs space, literally, reduced external input, to make the unexpected connections that produce creative solutions. The shower works because it's one of the last truly input-free environments in modern life. Warm, familiar, low stimulation. Your conscious mind relaxes, and your DMN quietly gets to work connecting dots your focused mind was too busy to notice. Part 3. Emotional processing and mental health. There's a third function of mental quiet that doesn't get talked about enough: emotional processing. When something difficult happens, a conflict, a disappointment, a loss, a stressful day, your brain needs time and space to process that experience, to move it from raw, unprocessed emotion into integrated memory, to make meaning of what happened, to figure out how you feel and what it means. But if you immediately fill that space with distraction, which is exactly what most people do, because difficult feelings are uncomfortable, that processing never happens. The emotion doesn't disappear. It just goes unprocessed. It sits there, slightly raw, slightly unresolved, adding to a background accumulation of emotional weight that never quite gets cleared. Research by psychologist James Pennebaker found that people who regularly took quiet time to reflect on and process their experiences, even just through writing, showed measurably better mental health, immune function, and emotional regulation than those who didn't. The quiet isn't just good for your thinking, it's good for your nervous system, for your relationships, for your ability to show up as yourself rather than as someone carrying a full backpack of unprocessed feelings they've been too busy to look at. Stillness is not laziness. Here's the reframe, and it matters. In a culture that worships productivity and equates busyness with worth, doing nothing feels like failure. Sitting quietly feels indulgent. Taking a walk without a podcast feels like wasted time. But what if it's the opposite? What if the most productive thing you can do for your thinking, your creativity, your emotional health, your relationships, is to regularly, deliberately give your brain nothing to process? The people who think most clearly, create most originally, and handle difficulty most gracefully are almost never the people consuming the most content. They're the people who have protected some portion of their mental life from the noise. Stillness is not the absence of productivity. It is where your deepest productivity lives. It's where insight comes from, where clarity lives, where you figure out what you actually think, feel, and want, underneath all the noise of what everyone else is telling you to think, feel, and want. A quiet mind isn't an empty mind, it's a free one. Actionable takeaways. 4 ways to start building the quiet mind, starting today, without any dramatic life changes. First, protect one daily silence window. Pick one recurring moment in your day and protect it from input. The morning commute, the first 10 minutes after waking, a lunchtime walk. The point isn't meditation or formal practice, just no phone, no podcast, no music. Let your mind go where it goes. Notice what surfaces. This is your brain getting to finish its sentences. Give it the chance, every day, without fail. Second, walk without audio at least 3 times a week. The walking without headphones habit is one of the highest leverage things you can do for your cognitive and emotional health. Research on walking consistently shows it enhances creative thinking and problem solving, but only when the mind is free to wander, not occupied with a podcast. Take a route you know well. Let your mind drift. Don't try to think productively. The thinking will happen on its own. Third, create a morning buffer. Before you check your phone in the morning, before the news, the messages, the social media, the email, give yourself 10 minutes of silence. Just sit, have your coffee, look out the window. Let your brain start the day from its own center rather than from someone else's agenda. The first input you consume sets the tone for your thinking all morning. Make the first input nothing. It sounds small, it changes everything. Fourth, use boredom as data. When you feel the urge to reach for your phone, especially in a quiet moment, pause for 5 seconds and ask, what was I just about to think about? What feeling was I about to feel? The urge to reach for distraction is almost always an avoidance of something. A worry trying to surface, an idea trying to form, an emotion trying to be processed. You don't have to dive into it, just notice it. Give it a moment before you reach for the escape. Sometimes that moment is all it needs. The quiet mind isn't built in a day, it's built in 5-minute increments, daily, over months, but it compounds. And what it gives you back? Clarity, creativity, calm, a genuine sense of knowing your own mind. We started this series talking about scrolling, about dopamine loops and attention spans, and procrastination, and childhood patterns, and the difference between comfort and meaning. And we end here, with silence. Because underneath all of it, Underneath every pattern we've looked at, every piece of science, every reframe, is the same invitation to know your own mind, to understand why you do what you do, and to make choices from that understanding rather than from autopilot. That's what the Rewired Mind is about. Not self-improvement as self-punishment, not hustle culture or endless optimization, just understanding yourself a little more clearly, and using that understanding to build a life that's actually yours. Every video from here goes deeper. If any of this landed, subscribe, because we're just getting started. Thank you for watching. Now go find some quiet.